Hello and happy Friday. Welcome to the channel. This is Fridays with Brandon, and today is episode number 112 of Fluke Fridays. And what we're going to talk about today is actually something unique or new to Fluke Industrial Group to be sold through distribution and with our industrial group. It is a fixed mounted thermal imager. I just got my hands on it in the last week and I got to play with it. It's pretty cool. I stole an idea from one of my coworkers on how a setup should be for showing you some of the conditions it can do. But the really neat thing is this could be fixed mounted in your system somewhere, in your process, and it can measure the thermal image and then has the ability to do an output. And I'll show you some of the connectors and more things later. But there's several different kinds of outputs, and I'll try to cover that all in this video so that you understand what you can do with it. I'll also walk through the software. So I think it's pretty cool, and let me know if you think this is something that you guys could use in your plant, and we'll go from there. Okay, so you can see the first look at the TV30 series. This is a TV36 telephoto lens. It comes in a telephoto lens, a standard lens, and a wide angle lens. And you can see that based on the part number and the model. You can order them differently. You can see on the back we got an LED light blinking here. It's yellow right now. If you leave it plugged in long enough, eventually it will turn green when it has connection to your computer. I have the Ethernet, and it's powered over Ethernet right now on that left-hand port. And then the right-hand port has the 16-pin connector that will do your output if you're not using some of the other outputs. I'll talk about some of the outputs here in a second. You can use that 16-pin to power it if you so choose, instead of using the Ethernet power over Ethernet capability. You can see there on the bottom you've got 2 1/4-inch jacks that you can plug, use like a tripod mount on for mounting it. I'm just showing the part number there again. You did see the front of the camera and the lens, and you can see it's a pretty small profile. It's only about 6 inches long, and this is an example of a power over Ethernet injector if you don't have a power over Ethernet switch that it's plugged into. So just taking one final look at it. Now we're going to look at the back of this instrument, and you're going to see we're going to talk a little bit about what you can get out of this tool. So you can get out 3 different things, or several different modes. You can do a 3 digital output, like a relay switch, where it just makes a connection, and you can do 3 of those just by buying the cable with it, and it'll output to your PLC or whatever. You can also do 4 to 20 with this based on a zone that we'll set up later and kind of show in the software, and do a 4 to 20 output. But you do need a module, and that'll add another, I don't know, $1,500 to the cost of the tool or so. Or if you if we get into the Ethernet out, you have the ability to do a couple different options. You can do OPC UA language and do up to 32 outputs. Or by the end of the year, that would be end of 2023 or early 2024, we should have Ethernet IP language available, and again being able to do 32 individual signal outputs. And then I did hear that it has some kind of language to do Internet of Things, but I'm not real sure about that. So if you are interested in Internet of Things with this thing, connect with your local Fluke seller and we'll try to get it figured out for you. Now we're heading over to the software, which this is the more exciting part of the video because you get to see something in thermal imaging. You can actually see my face, and you see the resolution, you can see the veins in my face and whatnot. So really, really good image quality on this tool. What I'm showing here is how you can put different temperature markers. I already had 2 up there, number 1 and 2. I'm showing you can do the line, and you can select which kind of image information you want to send, so we can make conditions, whether you want the min, the max, the average, so on and so forth. And we've got the ability to do a line, a square, a rectangle, or a funky shape, or a dot, a single spot. And you can do multiple of those, and based on your output you can have more of these, right? You can have up to 32 with some of those digital outputs, but only 3, or up to 32 with some of the Ethernet options, but only 3 with the digital output. Now I'm showing you can label those different spots. So I labeled one left and one right, and now you can see we went into the conditions, and we're looking at the conditions, and you can create different conditions, create different measurements, add those in here, and do different triggering based on those conditions that we set up. I'll show you the ones I set up before, and how you will edit them, or how you could edit them here in a second. You can have a little logic in any of your conditions as well, with an and or an or statement. So this is above this temperature, or that is above this temperature, or this and that are both above the temperature. And we're going to see that here in a little bit. So what am I showing here? Just more of what it looks like when you do a condition. So right here I have the right hand as a max. If the max inside that square for the right hand is above 70 degrees, it's going to alarm for me and create a little alarm. Now you can give it an output like you see there at the bottom that I've clicked a few times, to one of the 3 digital outputs. Obviously, if you have one of the Ethernet options, then you can do your logic on a PLC somewhere else. Here in a second, I will back up, and you're going to see I'm going to raise my hand for my left hand, and you can see it alarm. My right hand, it alarms, and the both alarm at the same time with the true and false. So you can have just one, or the other, or both. Now I'm going to go through and show you, you can get different palettes as you're connected to it on your instrument, and this is not going to affect the temperature readings. It's just going to affect how it looks to your eyes, so you get to choose whatever you prefer. I prefer iron bow, but choose whatever you like. You can affect a lot of different things, like the scale. You can either have it auto or manual, and then you saw I clicked on that range for a second. Most people will leave that in auto, but if you know all your ranges is really high, you could leave it higher. Emissivity, I've got other videos on that if you want to understand some of these thermal imaging terms that you're seeing on the screen as I click through. When you go to the home screen, you're going to notice the markers go away. So you can't see the markers when you're watching it, but when my hands go up, it still is hitting that marker areas, although it's invisible to us. But this is what you would see on the other end, either both hands up in a true statement, or just one hand up and it's false. And yeah, I think it's a pretty slick little piece of software and really amazing image quality. If you found this video useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you watch more than 3 of these videos. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for investing your time with me, and really appreciate you sticking with me to the end. Take care.